What's happening, HC Nation? Hey, Zach Edwards here with another Tutorial Tuesday. Now this one is on lands in Limbo, and there's actually 2 emails that come out. So over the last few weeks, we've had Guy Fawkes being a big subject, and this week we're actually going to resolve it. We're done. That's it. But as part of that, we brought up another subject that was really important, and that's lands in Limbo. Lands in Limbo basically means the land is unoccupied. No one owns it. Because if it's not occupied, it's like an explorer goes into the land and decides, it's great land, but I gotta go back to England, so I'm gonna leave. But I'm still gonna own it. No, that doesn't work. The explorer leaves, nobody's occupying it. Anybody that comes in, Spain comes in, it's their land. Sorry that you laid claim on it, but you don't own it anymore because you're not there. There's no one there, it's our land. So that's what lands in Limbo basically means. So these are the 2 emails that came in. One has to do with Guy Fawkes. The other one has to do more of the whole concept of lands in Limbo. So if you have questions or comments as we go through this video, please put them in the comments below so that we can answer any questions, because as soon as this week's done, we're done with Guy Fawkes and we're done with lands in Limbo. We might bring him up in the future, but we're gonna hold off for a while because they've taken up a lot of these videos. Okay, so the first one is from Trace. It says this: yes, but if it's in Limbo, it doesn't belong to you. And if it doesn't belong to you, you own no land. It's talking about if all of a sudden my last land goes into Limbo, such as if the atomic bomb hits it, which is right here, the atomic bomb hits it, then all of a sudden that land, no one owns it. And if you own no land, you lose the game, no matter what stage of the game you're in, right? The game starts out with only 1 land and no characters upon it. Doesn't that mean that the land goes into Limbo? Just trying to work this out. Okay, so from right there, when you start off and there's 1 land, it is in Limbo, but it's in your battlefield, which is why a land in Limbo can still be in your area, because that's where you're gonna fill up. The first 2 rounds are world peace, so no one else can come into your lands that are in your battlefield. Any lands in Limbo here are yours. When I was talking about it last week, I said that you could put the lands in the middle, but that's an optional thing. You don't have to put the lands in the middle, especially when you start off. That is your land. It is technically your land because it's in your battlefield. You've played it, and you've got 2 turns around to fill it up. After that point, anybody else can come and get it because you didn't fill it up. You didn't put anybody in that land. It's theirs for the taking. But you have 2 turns to be able to fill that up. That's his first point. LOL. He's laughing at it. So I've thought for a few ways to get rid of him. Wait. Just trying to work this out. Okay, laugh out loud. I've thought for a few days to get rid of him. So again, going back to Guy Fawkes, one of them would be to steal him with your card or Shakespeare. Another would be to play the land of Roanoke, placing the land in Limbo. Okay, so that would have to be played by somebody else. Someone else would have to play Shakespeare, such as a friend that you have a treaty with, or such. They could steal your Guy Fawkes. I don't know why they would, because then they would get the negative points that Guy Fawkes gives you. So Guy Fawkes is right here. His abilities are: when you play Guy Fawkes in an opponent's land, they lose 300 morale. Okay, so you wouldn't lose 300 morale because this is when you play it in another land. If you steal this from your opponent, say that there's a 3rd person, here's player A, he's the one that played Guy Fawkes in your land. This is player B, and there's player C. Now, player C could help you by stealing this, and because he steals it from you, that ability does not work because it says when you put Guy Fawkes in an opponent's land. Well, if he's stealing it from player B, he's not putting it in an opponent's land, he's taking it for himself. So he doesn't lose the 300 morale. And then it says he cannot be discarded until the land changes hands. Okay. So, I really need to tell you about the combo. I'm going to tell you tomorrow. Actually, probably just keep this display up and we'll just explain it the exact same way. Follow up. So, Guy Fawkes, yeah, he can be moved by stealing him from somewhere. Or, I mean, he can also be wait a second. He cannot be discarded until this land changes hands, until the land changes hands. He can be moved. He can be used with an explorer. An explorer takes him. Let's see, do I have any explorers out? I don't. Take an explorer, move him to another land. Great, he's in another land. So until the land, until that land changes hands. So if that one changes hands, he goes away. But I don't know why you would. He has a 300, 400. It's great. He might have decreased your morale by 400 points, but he stays there. Okay, continuing. Another would be to play the land of Roanoke, placing the land in Limbo. Okay, so your opponent could actually wipe out the whole land because there's no one in that land. It's in Limbo, technically. So again, you can keep it here, but because there's no one there, the land of Roanoke, or the lost colonies of Roanoke, wipes out every character that's in that land. So all of a sudden, there's no one in that land. It goes to Limbo, which means no one owns it. Changing hands is basically, it's not in your hands anymore. It might be on your battlefield because that's where you're storing it, but unless you fill that back up, and anybody can walk in there and grab it. Another person with another explorer can walk in there and grab it. Or if they're in the same continent, all they have to do is walk over and grab it. So, putting those back. Another would be to steal him from a divided land which you and your opponent both own and put him in your part of the divided land. So he's talking about like the fall of the Berlin Wall or such. You both have the exact same land. Divided, if you play the Berlin Wall, all of a sudden your opponent has to get rid of their land and you're the only one that can lay claim to that whole land because it becomes one land. It's no longer two lands. It becomes one. Because the Berlin Wall came down, West Germany and East Germany basically became Germany. So, that is the question from Trace. I hope that helps you with that question. That was a comment in the YouTube channel. This is another one from Josh talking about lands in Limbo. He says, "Hello. This Limbo idea still seems pretty strange to me. I'm totally with you up until you talk about the lands changing hands. The lands going to the middle of the table." Okay, again, I can see where there's questions there. Get rid of that. That was an option. Don't even worry about that. Keep them in your land, but just know that if you have no one in there, somebody can come in and just grab it from you because you have no one defending that land. So that land is still in Limbo and it's in your battlefield. So basically you can still draw cards if you have one land that's in Limbo and no other lands. You can continue to draw cards. Okay. I see a problem if you're saying if you don't have a character in your land, lose all the characters in your land. So two different ways. Which now equals you no longer own a land. So basically if it's still in your battlefield, you technically have a land in your battlefield, so you still stay alive. You still can play. As long as no one claims that land. As soon as they claim it, you're done. You lost the game, it's over. Okay, so here's a few of his questions. 1, the first turn you don't play a character in your land, would someone then be able to walk into your land for you if you don't own it? Yes, someone can walk right in. If someone is in the same continent, they can transport. One card can transport without an explorer if they're in the same continent. If they're in different continents, an explorer would have to be taken over to lay claim to another land. Because a explorer can transport outside of the continents to different continents. And you can also have technology cards that will allow you to transport outside of a continent. So, 2 different ways of doing it. So yes, someone can lay claim to that. That's always been a rule. So 2, you play the Latin Wars, or a card like it. Any country taken within the last 2 turns must be returned. Wouldn't the land then be considered taken if came out of Limbo? Okay, so if somebody took that land, put it into Limbo for before 2 rounds, and then played the Latin Wars, yes, that land would then go back to you. Hopefully you have another land, because so technically, if you have no one in that land goes to Limbo. If you play the Latin Wars to get this land back, it's still technically yours. You can actually technically it's in your battlefield. So you can still fill it up. You can still put people in that land. But again, if someone lays claim to it, if they take it to their land, they fill it up with somebody, and then all of a sudden you play the Latin Wars, yes, you can take it back. 2B, question 2B, if you played this card but had no character or armies to put back into your land, do you really then get them back? No, you need to actually put someone in. Again, to lay claim on that land completely, you have to have someone in that land. You can put it back in your battlefield, which gives you claim to put more people in there, but unless you put people in there, you can't, anybody can take it again, because you have no one in that land. When people go into the land, you have to attack. You have to beat them through combat in order to claim that land. I'm hoping this makes sense. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. We're going to finish this up. Question 3, Hannibalic Wars. If you play this and then assassinate your opponent's last character card, okay, but then have no one to walk into that land, could they then add new people into the next round for the changed hands? So again, that card was in Limbo. You still technically own it because it stays in here. We're not talking about the middle anymore. Take that option out. I was wrong by even mentioning it. So no middle option. You're not going to Limbo in the middle of the land. And I think this is what Josh is talking about the most. It's staying in here. So yes, you can still fill it up. You can fill it up as many times as you want, as long as nobody lays claim to it and puts people into that land. No one can just claim your land and not put anybody in it. They have to put someone in it. Okay. 4, the Roman Republic expansion. If you now give an opponent one land with this card, but do they really get it? It would not be their turn, and they would have no characters on it. With this land in Limbo, wouldn't the card just go into the middle of the board? Again, middle of the board. So thank you for bringing this up, Josh. Totally disregard the middle of the board. Keep it in your battlefield. So if you give someone a land and they can't fill it up, you might have given them that land, no one's there, somebody else can come claim it. So there you go. You just gave them the land, somebody else claimed it. Now you cannot, if you give them that land, you cannot claim it back right away. The Hannibalic Wars is that you play it, you have to wait. So if somebody else claims it, it's because it's in Limbo. But at the same time, they can put an interrupt. If they have an interrupt in their hand, they can put an interrupt character card in that land. All of a sudden, there you go. They have someone there. Before, if it was over here, this player could not put an interrupt in that land to take it. He would have to have laid claim on that person, on that land. It had to be in their battlefield in order to play it. So, okay. I hope that all made sense. If there's questions still, please put them in the comments below. But this also brings up another question that I have for you, and I want you to be able to put this in the comments below as well. How do you like this new format? I used to do it where I was straight up and down above the one mat, but people were always asking, well, it'd be nice if you could have 2 mats, if you could have 2 opponents, and you could see how the interaction goes. Yes, you're exactly right, and for that reason, we've done this new format to help you to be able to see exactly how we're set up. So 1 mat here, 2nd mat here, done. Hopefully that makes sense. Otherwise, put them in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you have to think about this format, or if you have any other questions or ideas when it comes to the format that you want to see these Tutorial Tuesdays, or sometimes even whatever Wednesdays. But this is the way that we're doing it right now. So we'll catch you tomorrow. Take care. Thanks so much. Bye.